Cannabis is the most popular drug in Britain, with over 2 million people smoking it regularly. And over half of all young people have tried it at least once. But how much harm does cannabis actually cause?
In this series, I want to see the lengths some people go to get it.
I'm not going to sell it, I'm not going to be a dealer, it's just for me to smoke.
So what, you go burgle people's houses and stuff?
Yeah.
Find out how and why they use it.
So that's just enough, just to take away a bit of pain.
Yeah.
And discover exactly where it comes from.
I mean, this is going on all over the country, and you wouldn't know that this is happening. Look, I'm not going to lie, I, like millions of other young people, have smoked cannabis. I never got into it heavily or anything, and it never seemed to cause me any personal harm. So I'm curious to find out if that is the same for everyone else.
I'll be with the police as they smash illegal cannabis groves and stop the criminal gangs behind them.
I'm arresting you for producing cannabis.
We've been busted, mate.
Yeah.
See the border agency crack down on cannabis smuggling.
It's ridiculous. We keep putting more and more and more and more and more and more drugs out.
And fly halfway around the world to see what happens when cannabis is legalised for medical use.
I was surprised myself. I thought, smoking cannabis for asthma?
Is cannabis as bad as some people say?
It's definitely addictive. I don't know how anyone can say it's not addictive.
Or can it actually be beneficial?
If I didn't have cannabis, I'd either be in prison or I'd be dead.
I want to find out what's really the harm in cannabis. A year after leaving EastEnders, I ended up in the papers after this photo of me smoking cannabis appeared on Facebook. I was pretty surprised by the reaction I got, and that's made me want to discover the truth about what still is a controversial and illegal drug. I'm starting out in South London, where I'm on my way to meet a young cannabis smoker who says he's the envy of his mates. That's him on the bike, 17-year-old Tom. Unlike his friends, he doesn't hide his cannabis use, not even from his parents. Oh, and the reason you can't see Tom's face isn't because he's scared of the police. He's worried being identified might affect his chances of getting into a good university next year.
My mum and dad are like the only mum and dad that I know that like properly allow it in the house. Like I know people whose mum and dad tolerate it, but not that will smoke a spliff with their son sort of thing. Like I don't mind. My dad's comfortable like smoking with me.
Oh really? You smoke your dad?
Yeah, my first joint was from my dad. So.
Really? How old were you when you gave you your first joint?
14, 15. I just picked up and I asked him one time, Dad, can I smoke some pot in the house? And I was so nervous. I was just like, because I had loads of friends around as well, and he was just like, yeah, sure, mate, as long as I can have a bit. And I was just like, oh, jeez, really? Just like, and then it all just really started from there, to be honest.
It was a bit of a shock when your dad did that, though.
I was expecting a no, get out, sort of, get your friends out now. We need to have a talk about this sort of thing. But it was just like, no, yeah, sure, mate, do what you want.
I can imagine to some young people, Tom's life sounds a little bit too good to be true. So I'm going round to meet his parents to see for myself.
Hi, Tom. All right? How's it going? All right. This is your mum and dad. Hello. I'm James, by the way. Nice to meet you.
How you doing?
Hello. Andy, nice to meet you.
Hello, I'm Claire. Sorry about the garlic.
The thing that he was talking to me about that's quite alien to me is the fact that when he first smoked cannabis, it was you that introduced it to him.
I provided him with his first ever taste of it,
So out of the ordinary to me, though.
Well, apparently so, but it's all terribly suburban, really. I mean, this isn't like sort of, junkies in New York. This is a little bit of pot in Peckham.
I couldn't imagine sitting down with my mum and doing something like that. I mean, what's it like to sit with Tom and having a joint?
It's quite sweet, really. It's nice. I like it.
So, Tom's allowed to smoke cannabis at home, have his mates around and smoke it, even smoke it with his parents. Are there any ground rules for Tom?
The ground rules are not school days. It's as simple as that, really.
For Tom and his mum and dad, cannabis doesn't seem like a big deal at all.
Go on, Dad, give us a pinch of baccy.
Yeah, right.
How much do you want me to put in?
Normal.
For you or me?
For you.
All right. So all of it.
I can see you're sort of sitting there observing at the moment, Andy. You're getting a sort of sense of pride of your son here rolling quite a decent joint.
I taught him everything he knew, James. He'd be nowhere without me.
Is there any sort of etiquette when smoking with each other? Who smokes first? Who rolls?
Roller's rights. Rollers' rights.
I would say that is boys. Entirely.
Are girls more polite about it?
Yes.
There will be people that are watching this that are just out of interest who have never smoked cannabis, and they'll sort of be quite interested in actually what you're feeling right now.
It's nicer than alcohol. Tom and I have had this conversation, and I have never, ever, ever been in a group of people who, getting stoned, somebody's got stroppy. If anything, it makes you feel laid back and loving.
It's Dad's turn to roll the next family joint.
How's your dad's joint comparing to your own there, Tom? What's your review?
Yeah, it's all right. It's all right. I'll give him a 7 out of 10.
It seems surreal to be sat with a teenager and his parents watching them all get stoned.
This is not stupid. You legalise the stuff.
Really, that's how you feel?
Yeah.
What I found really fascinating was what Tom's dad said, and Tom himself, about the fact that they've bonded over smoking cannabis, that they're really close to each other over it. I mean, I suppose some dads do that with their sons by going to kick a football over the park, or maybe even just enjoying a beer on a Friday night, and they do it through cannabis.
So what is it this family are actually getting high off? Cannabis contains active chemical ingredients. The one that gets you high is called THC, making you feel drowsy, lightheaded and altering your perceptions. But there's an important counterbalance in the plant. It's CBD, or cannabidiol, and can make you feel alert and creative. Plants bred for a higher concentration of THC are known as skunk. 10 years ago, THC levels varied between 3 and 15%. But now, stronger strains can have up to 20% THC, and with less CBD. The problem is users often just don't know how strong the weed is. That's a problem that some young people try to avoid. Not content to just smoke cannabis, they want to grow it for their own use. They're known as hobby growers. So I've come to this cafe to meet Owen, a 19-year-old who's going to start growing cannabis for himself. I want to find out what he enjoys about smoking this illegal drug and why he wants to take things to the next level.
Owen? Hi, James. How you doing?
Nice to meet you, Owen. How are you?
Yeah, I'm pretty good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Just have a seat. What do you do, Owen?
I'm a student at uni at the moment, in my second year.
I just want to find out from someone like you, obviously enjoying smoking cannabis.
Yeah.
Like, what does it feel like? What's the good side?
The best part of it is when you come home after a busy day and you're tense, you're a bit stressed, and that first toke on the joint it just chills you out. You're instantly relaxed and just in a good place immediately.
How would you go about getting your weed?
It's a case of just asking around, seeing who's got some contacts. Often it's a bit difficult, and since I've come to uni, there just doesn't seem to be the same quality of weed down here. There may be somewhere, but I can't find it. So I've sort of been thinking about starting growing it.
Really?
Yeah, that's the plan.
Can you show me?
Yes, yeah. Well, I've just bought the equipment.
Owen's agreed to show me the grow kit he's just bought off the internet, which is perfectly legal to buy.
So why don't you talk me through what's in all these boxes here, Owen?
Well, first we've got this. This is Grow Tent, which helps you get the right sort of environment for growing. This is a HPS bulb, which gives you the right sort of spectrum of light. There it is, pretty big. And this will also go through a carbon extractor.
Would it smell quite a lot if you didn't have that?
Well, yeah, towards the end of the grow, it apparently does get quite pungent.
Really?
So, yeah, this should...
Smells like weed, I take it, not just like soil and stuff?
No, it smells like weed.
Okay.
So this will stop the neighbours getting suspicious.
How much does all this cost?
Well, I got all this as a kit, so you get a bit of a discount, obviously, if you buy everything together. And it was 400 quid.
Okay. Like if someone was to sit you down and say, like, come on, why are you doing this? Why do you feel the need to grow weed? Why can't you just get it off someone? Why have you got to perpetuate the problem by growing it?
I don't see it as a problem at all, and if anything, I think this is reducing harm. If I was buying weed off a dealer, I don't know where my money's ending up. It could be funding organised crime or terrorism, or you just don't know. Whereas with this, I know where my money's going. I'm doing it all myself, and no one else is coming to any harm. I don't see any reason why I shouldn't be allowed to do this. I'm not going to sell it, I'm not going to be a dealer, it's just for me to smoke.
I can see Owen's point in not wanting to fund organised crime by growing weed himself. A small amount of cannabis, like an eighth, can cost around 20 quid on the street. And it's a lot cheaper to grow your own if you're a hard-up student. What he is planning to do is illegal, but it seems he's not alone. The internet has fueled an explosion in young people buying home-grown cannabis kits. Bizarrely to me, it's perfectly legal to purchase all the equipment in the UK.
Cannabis seeds, skunk seeds, there's ashtrays, bongs and hookers, books and magazines, bubble bags, I mean, it goes on and on. I mean, tons, rolling accessories, rolling papers and blunts, scales, seeds, snuff items, stash products. It's great, what's stash products? Wow.
It seems that everything you'd ever need is just a few legal clicks away.
Comprehensive. It's comprehensive, that's what it is. It's an absolutely comprehensive list of exactly what you're getting.
Some people even post videos of themselves showing off their green fingers.
And there's people indoors, outdoors, tips, guides, troubleshooting. If you've got a problem with your soil, you can find out how to deal with that on here. Even on your phone now, in the App Store, you type in cannabis and loads of stuff comes up.
It can take anything up to 4 months for a cannabis plant to grow. But self-sufficiency isn't the only thing which motivates these hobby growers.
Growing your own cannabis is seen as an ethical decision. Some people want to avoid that contact with a black market where they don't know where the cannabis is coming from. They don't know what's in the cannabis and they don't know what activities go alongside the importation and distribution of that cannabis. Growers are actually growing so that they can have varieties that are not as strong as what they can get on the black market. And your experienced or more knowledgeable users will pick and choose cannabis to suit their mood, to suit their preference. They'll know which types of cannabis are most likely to give them bad side effects, and they will try and avoid that. And they'll know which types of cannabis give them the effects they want, and they will try and secure that.
I want to see a small hobby grow for myself. But the grower's paranoid about being found out and is only letting me see it on the condition I don't reveal where I am or who they are. All they've done is explain the basics of their grow to me.
Okay, wow. So we've got reflective materials on the side. I suppose that's to get the most out of all the light. We've got a couple of plants in there. They're quite young at the moment, I can see. They're quite small. We have a bottle here of yellow liquid, which is producing carbon dioxide, which I know from GCSE science. It's good for photosynthesis. And you've got a little fan there, and extraction system, which is going out there. I think that's feeding it out there, and you've got something coming in down here. I was talking to the person that this belongs to. I mean, this whole setup cost him like under 100 quid, including the seeds. I mean, this is going on all over the country, and you wouldn't know that this is happening.
But this boom is not going unnoticed. Last year, police forces across the country uncovered nearly 7,000 cannabis cultivations. That means, on average, the police were busting around 120 illegal cannabis grows a week. I'm with Avon and Somerset Police on the first day of Operation Viscount, an intensive 4-week crackdown on larger commercial cannabis growers. Last time a similar operation saw cannabis with a street value of around £6 million seized and 68 people arrested. Whilst their focus is on smashing big commercial grows, anyone caught growing even a small amount is vulnerable.
Let's stay there, guys. There's a team out upstairs.
To grow cannabis indoors, you need strong artificial light. This generates an abnormal amount of heat, which enables the police to use thermal imaging from surveillance helicopters to identify suspicious properties. But they don't always get it right.
This is the address we've just come to today, and the heat is marked by black, so you can see that the loft of this house is extremely hot. And there is other intelligence to support us getting a warrant for this one. Hence, we've got the warrant and executed it. However, in reality, what's happened is the house is very hot. You keep heating on all the time, and they've got no loft hatch.
Right.
So all that's happened is the heat has just gone up into the loft.
So with this one, though, there was intelligence as well?
Yeah, there was other intelligence,
right, okay.
as well as the helicopter.
Yeah, okay.
But on this occasion, he was wrong.
He was wrong.
We get back in the van and head on to the next raid.
Okay.
go to all sorts, industrial units, barns, houses, sheds, lofts.
So how big is someone's house? Like, they use the whole house or just like the basement?
I've been into a house where literally every room has been filled with cannabis. Wow. Literally, the guy was sleeping in the hallway. You never know what you're going to face on the other side of a door as well, that's the thing. It could be anybody wielding a knife or machete, anything.
This concrete shed is at the back of a suburban garden.
There we go, we found some plants.
Feels like a sauna in here. Even our camera's steamed up.
So it's only got 5 plant pots, and they're about 5 or 6 deep, so 25, 30 plants maybe here?
Yeah, potentially.
So roughly, what would you say the street value of say, these plants would be?
I wouldn't like to hazard a guess, but an awful lot.
So wholesale, like the 500 to 1,000, you've got like 15 to 30,000.
And then street value would probably be about double that.
Double that, so about possibly 50 grand, let's say, £50,000 roughly.
Yeah.
50 grand worth of cannabis is now the official property of Avon and Somerset Police.
It's an exciting part of your job, though.
It's exciting, but you end up just smelling of cannabis for weeks after. Yeah. Literally, you have about 2 or 3 showers and you still stink of it. You've got to chuck your clothes away, so you end up wearing really old clothes, because it's proper messy.
Sergeant Bain calls me over into the house. He's discovered another grow going on inside. There's a further 25 plants in the utility room.
He's probably growing it to sell it as opposed to growing it for his personal use, because he's got that's the next stage.
So he's churning them out.
He's got a continual cycle of.
Behind us as well, we've got these are little cuttings, little baby ones ready to go there.
They'll probably replace the ones out in the back shed in 2 or 3 weeks' time.
These much younger plants suggest this might be a commercial operation.
He's got a ready-to-go supply of 25 plants, so he keeps going every 3 months. He's got 25 plants.
Yeah. You can't exactly say it's from personal use.
No.
So it's amazing that this just goes on in someone's house. You know, from the outside, it's just a normal house, and this whole operation inside.
Yeah. It's all over the place. Until you put the cannabis seed in there, it's not illegal to have any of this.
So you can own the seed. Yeah. You can own all this gear.
Yeah.
But that's perfectly. But as soon as you put the seed in the thing,
the minute you plant it and start watering it, you're producing it.
It's a bit of a grey area.
Yeah, exactly. That's the problem.
There's been some confusion when it comes to where the law stands on weed these days. Cannabis is a Class B drug, which puts it on the same level as ecstasy and speed. Caught with it and you're under 18, you can expect a reprimand if it's a small amount, and your parents might get a call. If it's your second time, you could get arrested. If you're over 18 and have no prior offences, you'll probably get a formal warning. Not to be sniffed at, because that goes on your record. Second time, you'll get a penalty notice for disorder, which also goes on the record, and an on-the-spot £80 fine. Carry on and you can go to prison for up to 5 years. And if you get caught with what the police deem a large amount, that makes you a dealer, and you can be charged with intent to supply with up to 14 years in prison. Tonight, the police are carrying out Operation Utah, targeting motorists. Vehicles linked to all kinds of criminal activity have been marked on a database.
The main thing tonight is beware the drugs markers. What we want to do, we want to stay with that vehicle throughout. We want to watch the occupants like a hawk and make sure they don't get a chance to ditch anything before we get a chance to find it.
Officers tell me offences like carrying cannabis and driving under the influence of drugs are common on operations like these.
On a day-to-day basis, if you're on your bike, how often, say in one night, how many times would you go past a car you suspect of cannabis?
Maybe 2, maybe 3 times in a shift. It's a great advantage of being on the bike because you can smell it.
The police set up a checkpoint near the city centre. An unmarked van is parked up the road. It's rigged with sophisticated cameras that record and check every number plate against the National Police database.
3,000 vehicles have gone past since we've been here. There's been drink drivers, there's been drug dealers. You just never know what's going to come past.
This driver has been pulled over, and the police have found a very small amount of cannabis resin on it.
There's 2 little pieces here, one there and one there. Are you happy that's what you can go to now?
Yeah. So can you sign that there and put your name there for me?
He gets an official caution and the cannabis confiscated.
I've got a little bit of cannabis, that's it.
But it's only like a little bit, wasn't it?
Yeah, and a little tip that could even be a spill.
Did they give you a fine or anything?
No, No, it's just a warning.
Just a warning?
Yeah, that's it. Lucky me.
A team from the Tactical Crime Unit is out on the roads. Their car's also equipped with automatic number plate recognition cameras. They pull over one car because a passenger has been seen smoking a joint.
It looks like the offensive passenger is the one who's been found with a spliff or a cannabis joint on him. So the officer is dealing with him for that.
Okay, just unzip your jacket while I do a quick pat-down search of you, okay?
But that's not their main concern. The officers suspect the driver might be stoned.
I'm just going to look at your eyes a minute, all right? Because obviously, do you know about the effects of driving whilst under the influence of cannabis as well? No? How often do you use cannabis? All the time. How often a day? One a day, is it? Or two a day?
Maybe one when we get back from work, coffee when I go to bed.
Okay. I'm just looking at your eyes a minute, all right? Just see how they react to the light.
Police take driving under the influence of drugs as seriously as drink driving.
Yeah, they are reactive, that's fine. What I'm going to do, because of what you said, I'm going to do what we call a preliminary impairment test. All right? Okay, this is what we call the Romberg balance test. What I want you to do is stand up straight with your heels and toes together and your arms by your sides. Okay, and I want you to do heel to toe, heel to toe, heel to toe, 3, 4, 5.
With no cannabis equivalent of a breathalyzer, the police use a series of coordination tests to establish whether someone is stoned.
Heel to toe as best you can, as straight, that's it. Okay, this is what we call the one-legged test. Now I want you to lift your left hand, touch your nose, and down. If you just keep your arms by your side and just raise your foot as high as is comfortable, 6 to 8 inches is normal. That is the end of the test, and I can't see any reason why we should take you into custody. Your eyes are within the range of being okay. I know it's a bit embarrassing, but you've passed anyway. Thanks.
If he'd been found to be stoned, the consequences could have been as serious as getting caught drink driving. And no wonder. Some experts claim that smoking a joint can cause the same level of impairment on driving as drinking 4 pints of beer. Where me and my mates grew up, cannabis dealers were everywhere, just like on this estate on the outskirts of London. I'm meeting 3 lads who started selling weed here when they were just 15. I want to know what made them get into it.
What's your name? So when I first started off, I was probably making like £20 a day.
Yeah.
And it's like, once you build the customers and people start calling you, but then before I knew it, I was like, I was on £100 here, £200 there. The guy that I was selling it for, he come to me driving, new cars, and I know he was making loads of money off of it,
Yeah.
Probably because I know he had loads of guys selling it for him. So if I'm giving him, a part like £100 a day out of what I made, and you've got 10 people selling it for him,
yeah,
that's like £1,000 a day.
I smoke it all, you know what I'm saying? Sell some of it, smoke it all, hardly make enough money, and everyone else was making money, but I just smoked it all, so I wasn't earning that much weekly.
Yeah, so you were no good at dealing then.
Not even, I smoked it all, man.
You can earn more than you earn in a 9 to 5 working a week in a day when you're smoking weed and selling it kind of thing, innit?
No one can't.
These guys seem quite laid back about their past. But there must have been a more sinister side to all of this.
I know I got stabbed over it. You get into all kinds of things.
So you've been stabbed?
Yeah, I've been stabbed twice in the leg. I got stabbed twice in the leg because of the whole gang, and it's a dangerous game, man.
Some people say that weed can't be addictive, you know that. So especially what you feel when you're addicted, like,
the funny thing is, some people could say that we don't get you addicted, but they don't know that they're addicted. They just think that, I'm in control. But someone said it's once you try and stop, you realise you are addicted.
When they started to see the downside of smoking weed, they decided to quit using and dealing and clean up their lives.
I never got to that stage where I was like banging my head on the wall and biting the curb and stuff like that. I never got to that stage. But I've seen people like that for real. I've definitely seen people smoke weed and they become crazy. It's like you can't even talk to them. They're mad in the head.
I know guys that used to be good kids, good guys, and when they start smoking now they're paranoid, they're mad. You talk to them, they're quick-tempered.
These are the first cannabis users I've met who aren't singing its praises. There's clearly a much darker side to using cannabis I've yet to see. I've come to Dartford in Kent to meet a lad called Kian. He started smoking cannabis when he was just 11, and now at 14 says he has a problem with it.
Kian? Hello, mate. I'm James. How you doing?
His mum and dad have told me he's quite shy and withdrawn. He spends most of his time on his own in his room.
How's it going, mate? You alright?
Yeah, I'm fine, yeah.
Well, how much you smoking?
Well, I'm smoking like most days. Not really a particular amount. I just smoke most days.
Well, like a couple of joints and that?
Yeah, a couple a day, yeah.
Well, how old were you when you started smoking?
First tried it, I think I was 11 when I first tried it in one of my mates' shed, and then now I've sort of got a bit attached to it since like last year, and since then I've been like quite on it, so it's not really good. At first it's like just fun, get stoned, laugh at just anything really, but then after a while you realise the effects from it, and it's like does mess you up quite a bit. I've only been smoking it enough for it to affect me for about a year, and I've felt full effects from it.
Do you mind telling me what those effects are though?
Just paranoia really, and you just, I'm not sure. Like, I'd be, just say if I'm walking home on my own, I'd be paranoid, I'd be looking at cars and I'd think there'd be someone in there, and I'd be like, and just different things like that. Sometimes you can feel depressed, like out of nowhere, you'd be sitting there all fine. Like today actually, I was all fine earlier, and then I just started feeling all depressed randomly. People think like weed, no, it's just a laugh, but it's not. Yeah, it can be really serious. It does really mess you up.
There are people out there that it's like they reckon it's not addictive. It's like a really easy drug just to put down.
No.
What would you say? What would you say to them people though?
It's definitely addictive. I don't know how anyone can say it's not addictive. It's extremely addictive. Or I wouldn't be smoking it anymore.
Downstairs, it's time for dinner.
Where shall I sit?
Anywhere you like.
Sit next to you, maybe? Is Kian not coming down for dinner now?
I think so, no. I said you come down for dinner. That's why I'm not hungry.
I discovered that Kian's mum, Sarah, also used cannabis as a kid.
So when you were growing up, Sarah, how old were you when you started smoking?
I was 13.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I started smoking quite young, but I'm so glad that I don't smoke anymore, like I say, because it was making me paranoid in the end.
Has it been tough, being an ex-cannabis smoker yourself and now seeing, your kids going through, cannabis use and experiences? Has that been quite tough?
It has been, knowing when Kim comes to me and says, oh, I really want to give up, I'm really trying, and he says, right, I'm going to give up today. And then he's coming and he's sort of stoned and stuff like that, and you think, oh, poor thing.
Right, Kian, you ready?
Kian's not hiding in his room for the rest of the weekend. Friday night for him means he's going to a party with his mates.
Hello. I'm in the car, on my way down, mate. Cool, mate. I'll be there in about 10 minutes.
How often do you go out like this, every weekend?
Yeah, most Fridays and most Saturdays I go out.
His dad, Chris, seems resigned to the fact that Kian will probably end up getting stoned tonight.
Nice to meet you, Kian. Cheers, mate. Really nice talking to you. Right, see you later. All the best, mate. See you later.
On the way back, I asked Chris how he thinks Kian has changed since he's been using weed.
When he was starting secondary school, he had tremendous potential. He's very clued up, very quick with things. He's lost that quickness now, because of the cannabis. And I just think they could have done so much better at school, but I just think it's been robbed, really.
But Kian is not alone. More and more young people are suffering from serious cannabis problems. Last year, almost 4,000 people his age were offered help to get them off the drug. The police are making every effort to stop cannabis reaching the streets in the first place by busting the big-time growers. Officers from Operation Viscount have been tipped off by the electricity board. They've detected an unusual increase in electricity use coming from a small industrial unit near Bridgewater in Somerset.
The information that we've had is reliable. It's been checked out as far as it can be, and we're quite confident that we're going to find something there.
The landlord also alerted the police after finding suspicious alterations to the building.
Clearly with this door it's secured from the inside. If you have a look just in the edges there, you can see there's some insulation, which you wouldn't really expect to find in a courier's premises. Forensics in mind, please, gentlemen. Oh, nice.
Yes. Cultivation.
Thank you. We've got a positive. I'd like CSI. Could you call them for us, please?
Sergeant Medland's team have shut down a professional grow of 262 plants with a potential street value of about £200,000.
Oh, so this is amazing. It's the most professional setup I've seen. They've gone to a lot of bother. There's a lot of expense involved in setting this up, and they'll be quite disappointed to see it disappear from their possession.
The criminal behind this later tells the police it cost him £7,000 to set this grow up. He admitted producing a Class B drug with intent to supply and is awaiting sentencing. So far, I've only met people who use cannabis to get high. But some people think they need cannabis just to function. In Weston-super-Mare is a young mum of 3 who says she uses cannabis not to get wasted, but to keep her emotions in check.
Hello, Laura.
Yes.
Hello, I'm James. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
All right.
Come in. Coffee, tea?
I'll take a tea, please. Well, I don't really know much about yourself, you see.
No.
So...
Well, I'm 26.
Yeah.
And basically, I started smoking when I was about 14. So I've been on it 12 years. And I started smoking it because reality came a bit too much. Couldn't deal with reality very well. I was 14. I was helping bring up my little sister because my parents both had alcohol problems. They were always arguing, splitting up, you know. And it just became a bit too much, really. So I started smoking and drinking. But I kind of worked out that drink really wasn't for me. It made me quite violent, quite aggressive. I was always getting into trouble, doing the wrong stuff, mixing with the wrong people. And I just really found that, you know, cannabis, for me, just makes me a better person as a whole. Makes me calmer, makes me more reasonable, helps me to think straight.
Really, you think it makes you a better person?
Yes, I do. Yeah, absolutely, yeah. I mean, when I'm not on cannabis, I'm really aggressive, really argumentative. It's very hard to find reasoning in me. Very, very difficult. I shout, I punch doors, I kick doors, I kick walls.
How much do you smoke then?
I have one in the morning when I get up, before the children get up.
Would that be like you have one spliff?
Yeah, one spliff in the morning, yeah, when I get up. I'll roll it and I'll go outside and smoke it before the children get up. And then when all the kids go to bed at night, before I go to sleep, I have one then.
It sounds to me like you, rather than being addicted to cannabis, which is what you say, and I completely believe you, it's like you're addicted to treating that anger.
Well, if I didn't have cannabis, I wouldn't be here now. I wouldn't have my children. I'd either be in prison or I'd be dead. It's as simple as that.
I catch up with Laura again later, just as she's getting the kids ready for bed.
Right, Beth, you're going to come and have your hairbrush, darling, because we're going to go to bed in a minute, OK?
We just did it!
I know, but we need to make sure that it's proper, don't we? Otherwise, we won't be able to brush it properly in the morning.
It's also nearing the time when Laura will want to smoke her second and last joint of the day.
Right, you guys get into bed and Mummy will sort it out. Look at the state of your bedroom. Guess what you're doing in the morning? You are. I love you. Right, sleep now. No noise, no silliness, OK? Or TV goes off. All done.
And how was that?
Tiring.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It went down all right, though?
Yep.
How are you feeling right now? Because you haven't had a smoke all day.
I haven't.
This morning.
No.
So how do you feel right now?
I'm definitely ready for my nighttime smoke, I think. It's been a long day.
Sitting here with Laura smoking, I still can't ignore the fact she's got young kids asleep upstairs.
What would happen? What would you do if suddenly, you know, you heard maybe Reese crying out for you upstairs or something? What would happen right now?
Well, I'd put my spliff down and I'd go up and sort him out. Absolutely, yeah. The kids come first. And for another, I wouldn't want him coming down here. I try to keep this from them as much as possible.
What if one of them run in now?
To be honest with you, nothing. Because to them, this is a roll-up. And Ellie, in all honesty, she'd be like, Mummy, are you rolling a medicated fag? And that's what she'd say, are you rolling a medicated fag? Because that's what she thinks it is, a medicated fag. and I'd just be like, yeah, let's take you back up to bed, come on.
So how's that now?
Yeah, it's nice. You can feel the anger going down and the relaxation coming up. It's a really, really nice feeling. Just the tensions of the day just slowly simmer down. It just feels like a weight's being lifted.
There are a few places around the world where cannabis has been decriminalised. If Laura lived in one of these, she wouldn't need to break the law. And I'm not talking about Amsterdam. I've flown 5,000 miles across the Atlantic and into San Francisco. I'm here because California is one of 15 American states where cannabis has been semi-legalised. Ever since 1996, it's been legal to buy cannabis, as long as you live in the state and have a prescription and medical card. My first stop is the college town of Berkeley, just across the bay from San Francisco and home to around 25,000 students.
So how easy is it for someone like yourself to get a card?
They'll give you a card. They'll give you a card for anything.
And how much would one pay to get a
About
card?
$150. You can actually get them for like $90 somewhere in San Francisco.
50 in LA.
Yeah.
Really? So on average, let's say $100.
Yeah.
At $100, I can go and get a card.
And it's permission to hold over an ounce on you and 6 plants to grow.
Do you guys have a better education with cannabis?
Yeah, we just use it responsibly.
Yeah.
You know, we don't get super baked and go fuck shit up. You know, we sit at home and watch TV and hang out.
It's not like alcohol or any other drug. And that's why in our area, cops only make you stomp it out because to them it's not that big of a deal.
I know a lot of cops that have smoked marijuana too. Like a lot of the cops that get pulled over smell my weed and go, oh, that smells hella good. You know, a lot of the cops really don't care.
Yeah.
A lot of the cops will just give it back and let you go.
Sounds very different from how it works back home. But are these cannabis prescriptions really as easy to get as those college kids are telling me? Occasionally, I have trouble sleeping. And I'm wondering if I lived here, whether this would be enough for me to get a legal prescription for weed.
Come on in.
Hello there, how are you?
Hi.
I'm James.
To find out, I'm meeting Dr. Hanya Bath, one of a small but growing number of doctors who specialise in prescribing cannabis for everything from arthritis through to depression and even cancer and AIDS.
Basically, my job is to evaluate you and decide whether your condition would benefit from the use of medical marijuana.
I don't suppose you prescribe it for a chesty cough, do you? Because I've got one.
Well, actually, it works for asthma.
Really?
Yes. Cannabis works.
That seems so counterintuitive.
It does.
Yeah.
It's a bronchodilator. Some people get a little bit of a cough. It brings up all their phlegm, and then they feel like they can breathe again.
Wow.
I was surprised myself. I thought, smoking cannabis for asthma?
Yeah, right. It just doesn't seem
It doesn't,
right.
but a lot of my patients have been able to stop their inhalers.
Well, there is something that I suffer with for quite a few years, on and off, in bouts, which is insomnia.
Okay.
And it maybe lasts for a week or two when it's quite severe, and then I'll sort of be okay for a few months, and it might come back.
Have you used marijuana at all, cannabis, or never?
I've smoked cannabis before, but not to treat.
Well, did it help you sleep?
I suppose it does make you feel sleepy, yeah. I suppose so, yeah.
So that's one of the questions that I ask patients. Have you tried it? And if you have, does it actually alleviate the symptoms for which you want to see me?
What do I do about going to get it then?
I would give you what's called a recommendation. It certifies that you has your name, your birth date, and when I saw you in my office, the exact words of this are, he or she was found to have a medical condition that in my professional opinion would benefit from the use of medical cannabis. I would give this to you, and then you would, if you wanted, you could go to a dispensary and purchase marijuana.
But doctors don't decide what strength or strain of weed you should use. That's where cannabis dispensaries come in. I'm heading to the Berkeley Patients Group, one of the first dispensaries set up in California. Part Amsterdam coffee shop, part like an ordinary chemist, these non-profit places advise you what strain of cannabis is best. And there's an awful lot to choose from, and some surprising ways to take it.
What is that? What?
This is kind of a novelty piece, actually. It's a giant pipe. It's actually functional. and it's almost like a two-person job. You know, one person to hold it, another person to light it. We rent stuff out here in the store for people to medicate with in our lounge.
A prescription from my GP back in Britain costs £7.20. So how much would it cost me here to get my so-called medicine?
It starts at $60 an eighth at the top of the line, all the way down to $10 smoking blend eighth that you can get. We have Casey Jones at $35 an eighth today, which is almost unheard of in other places, you know, $35 an eighth, it's very affordable.
UK cheese for $40. What makes it UK?
The strain itself actually originated from the United Kingdom.
Really? I've got to say I'm slightly disappointed that the strain that's representing the UK is only in the middle of your menu. I want it to be represented in the higher end, you know?
It's true, we do have the Dutch treat at 60.
Oh, right, okay, is that the better stuff? Right, okay. Are you a patient yourself?
I am a patient. We're all patients here.
I meet another staff member in the medicating area. Will has just finished his shift and invites me to sit down with him whilst he medicates.
Can I ask you what for?
Sure. Chronic pain and anxiety mostly.
Okay. Now, how do you prefer to consume your cannabis?
I like, to use a bong a lot, a water pipe, some people call it. It's a cleaner way of smoking. You get the filtration from the water.
Yeah.
It's a little less harsh, you could say.
How's that?
It's very good, very sour taste.
Do you get the effects sort of quite quickly?
Some cannabis more than others, yeah.
Nicely medicated.
Yes, I feel like definitely relaxed, I feel like there's just like the pain, has kind of ceased. Like just I feel like really mellow,
Driving back into San Francisco, I'm curious to see just how open people are about smoking what they all insist on calling their medicine. I head to a record store and catch a whiff of something very familiar.
How you doing, all right? I was going to ask you if you're cannabis smokers, but I can smell it already, man. You having a little smoke?
Yeah.
Do you guys have the card thing that you need?
We do.
Do you? So this is it, so you're a card-carrying medical cannabis patient, right, okay. What are you diagnosed with, or what are you using it for, like?
Because I like to smoke, that's all. I think I said for sinus headaches, but that's just a front.
Every day before I leave the house, I'm definitely medicating. I'm a true, cannabis fanatic. I like sativas in the morning, I like indicas at night, I like kush all the time. I use it for dealing with the world.
So you smoke daily? You smoke every day?
All day, every day.
From morning till night?
All day, every day.
But I would think that would have harmful effects, smoking every single day, all the time.
I feel better than ever.
In Britain, I've seen police uncover illegal grows. So I'm wondering where all of this legal weed here is coming from.
James,
John, nice to meet you.
John has given up a lucrative job as an estate agent to become a full-time cannabis grower.
This is considered a small grow by California standards. Small-scale farmers like myself are everywhere, and a lot of them are doing much larger gardens than what I have here.
How many plants do we actually have here?
About 65 to 72 is my range usually. That stays within the legal limits of the area, and it is enough for my patients for whatever their needs may be for the next couple of months. A garden this size can yield approximately $8,000 to $10,000 a month, maybe.
Yeah, are you a patient yourself?
I am a patient myself, yes.
Yeah. Well, what's your ailment?
I suffer from occasional depression. I have a very light ailment. I medicate very occasionally.
This is starting to get faintly ridiculous. Every single person I meet tells me they are medicating, often with a smile on their face.
Are there people that, aren't patients, haven't got any medical ailments, and they're just sort of, do you know what I mean, getting a card to...
Yes. A lot of people do it. I would say greater than 50% of the people with medical cards are using it for recreational purposes.
And what's your personal opinion of people maybe like that are flouting the situation here?
Philosophically, for me, it's a benign plant. It should be enjoyed. It should be used sparingly. We know what it can do. The truth is out there. The propaganda is, skewing more towards reality at this point, and it's only a matter of time before it's an accepted part of society.
Before I head home, I've got just enough time to squeeze in a little bit of window shopping. The demand for cannabis is so high here, it's created California's latest retail boom.
Amazing, absolutely amazing. It's like a B&Q.
This is WeGrow, the first in a chain of superstores legally supplying everything a cannabis grower could ever need. Started up by a former Wall Street trader, they aim to open up in all 15 American states where medical cannabis is legal.
Just have these are marijuana plants because I can smell them. Yeah, that's cannabis. Madness. I mean, there's a massive contrast from what we see in the UK, going to a hydroponics shop and they're growing tomatoes.
Around these parts, it seems coming to WeGrow is as normal as browsing the aisles at IKEA.
Welcome to America.
I'm back home in Britain and back in a place where cannabis is still very much illegal. Having met those young people in California who get away with using cannabis for so-called medical reasons, I'm meeting someone here who would give anything to be in their shoes.
Nice to meet you. How you doing? Yeah, I'm alright. You alright, thanks.
Jason, who's 30, is one of thousands of people in Britain who suffer from the debilitating illness ME. He's had it since he was 10. What are you going through?
It's kind of just like living with the worst dose of flu you've ever had in your life, but constantly. That is kind of what it's like day in, day out. Your legs literally don't work, and with added extras like migraines and just not being a normal person.
Jason has turned his back on conventional medication because of the side effects.
With the painkillers, you've got all the liver failure, you've got the possible stomach damage, the pancreatitis, all these different things. I was like, what do I do? I'm not taking any more painkillers. So someone said to me, have you thought about cannabis? I was like, no, very much not. Why would I? I'm against all drugs. Why would I want to take one of the harmful ones?
But Jason did decide to try it, and his symptoms were relieved.
Cannabis means life for me, literally life.
To avoid using tobacco, which Jason thinks is more harmful, he uses a vaporizer, something I've not come across before.
So that's just enough, just to take away a bit of pain. Right. And then just put it on to the vaporizer, and then just let it heat up, which then just vaporises off the THC and the CBD. So once it's done, you just take the tube and then just...
So right now, you're actually committing a crime right this second. How does that make you feel?
It is really difficult to get your head around the fact that just sitting here, taking away my pain in the safest possible way that I can, that is breaking the law.
Are you prepared to go to prison, or are you prepared to...
Well, I haven't got a choice. It's as simple as that. I have not got a choice than to take my chances.
I can see that Jason really believes that cannabis is the best thing for his pain relief. Unlike some of the people I met in California, I feel that he's for real. But as he's breaking the law, I wonder what his mum and dad think of this.
Did he try and keep it secret from you when he first started smoking cannabis?
To start with, he didn't actually keep it a secret, but he didn't actually tell us because he knows how much I worry.
Did you notice a bigger change in him as he did?
Yeah, definitely. He was nice to see an actual life coming back into him that can perhaps get some normality. But unfortunately, it's against the law. What are we going to do if the police come knocking at the door?
What would happen, if the police come in, raided his room and took him away? I mean, that...
I'll go with them. That's all there is to it. But, I hope it doesn't.
It's ridiculous to be in that situation, knowing, something's helping him, prolonging his life, because the painkillers will kill him.
It's his life, and it's not fair that life has treated him the way it has. And he just needs to have some sort of normality. And if this is helping him do it, then I stand by him.
You know, if I could take this ME off him now, I would. Just to give him a few days' rest. But unfortunately, I can't.
Professor Nutt.
Good to see you.
I'm James, nice to meet you.
I'm meeting Professor David Nutt, one of Britain's leading scientific experts on the effects of drugs, to find out why he thinks cannabis can't be legally prescribed to someone like Jason.
I think it's appalling that since 1971 we have not been able to prescribe cannabis for medicinal purposes. Queen Victoria thought it was the most wonderful treatment for childbirth pains, and that's why she had so many children. She swore by cannabis medication.
Professor Nutt used to be the government's top scientific advisor on how to classify banned drugs, until this happened in 2009.
The government's chief advisor on drugs policy has been sacked after insisting that alcohol and cigarettes are more dangerous than cannabis and ecstasy.
It was Professor Nutt's job to provide scientific facts on the harm of drugs. Controversially, he claimed horse riding was more dangerous than taking ecstasy, and that cannabis was one of the least harmful drugs, putting it after alcohol and tobacco. His findings didn't sit well with the government, and he was fired.
It's hard to know exactly why I was sacked. I think they probably just got fed up with me telling the truth about drugs and pointing out the fact that the current drug laws are actually not based on science and evidence. Cannabis isn't broken down into toxins, so as far as we know, there's no damage from cannabis itself. It doesn't damage tissues. One of the reasons cannabis is safer than almost any other drug is that no matter how much you take, you do not die. It is never lethal.
So if this is true, why does Professor Nutt think the politicians didn't want to listen to him?
Once a drug's illegal, you cannot have a rational debate about it, with a politician at least, because illegality puts it in another dimension. Illegal activities, legal activities. They say you can't compare them, but of course you have to compare them. The whole process of thinking rationally about drugs was completely disrupted by the last government.
I'm just going to ask you outright, what's the harm with cannabis?
The biggest harm of cannabis at present is the fact you get a criminal record if you're caught with it. And that's why I've been so keen to get the harms in proportion, because I think the harms of a criminal record are much, much greater than the harms of cannabis to the average person.
This is not an opinion shared by the police.
Right, next road on the left.
Officers from Operation Viscount are continuing their crackdown on illegal cannabis grows. And I'm back with them as they're about to strike again. One of the first places they check is usually the loft, a common place for hiding a cannabis grow.
That's clear.
But nothing is found there, and so armed with a drugs warrant, the officers continue to search the rest of the property. Within minutes, they find a small stash of weed in the kitchen.
There's a couple of ounces there, but we'll continue the search. You never know what else we'll find there.
Soon enough, I get called upstairs to see evidence of a recent cannabis grow.
You see just the residue of the leaf in there.
Yeah.
There obviously was some cannabis in it at some point.
So your average cannabis smoker won't really have this, would they? This is for someone who's actually growing or drying quite a lot of...
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Outside, Sergeant John Bain uncovers further proof that cannabis has been grown here.
He's grown some plants in here, not many, 6 plants, in just a very small little setup.
I'm stunned that the heat given off from growing just 6 cannabis plants can be picked up by thermal imaging.
We've had ones that have only been 1 or 2 plants, and it still shows up. Because you've got to have a 600 watt bulb to get any growth at all. So even with a couple of bulbs, it still generates 1200 watts worth of heat. So
I don't think people realise that.
I don't think people don't.
Someone else a bit shocked by all of this is the homeowner. He's just come back to find his front door missing and his house full of coppers.
We've been busted, mate.
Yeah.
I've got 6 plants on and busted.
Yeah, so they were your plants, were they?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because we were maybe speculating you had maybe a son or something that did it, but it was you yourself, mate.
No, it was me, mate.
Why were you growing cannabis plants?
My debt's a fucking sky high. And there's some money to get me out of the shit.
Because what this guy has been doing is illegal, it's up to him to repair any damage the police have caused.
Everybody around here knows I go around the fucking club and have a drink on a Monday. Why didn't they just come round there and I would have opened the fucking door for them? Now it's going to cost me for the fucking door.
So you've got to pay for that door now as well?
Oh, yes.
So all for growing 6 plants in the back,
Yeah, 6 plants.
A few quid,
Yeah.
now you've got your door smashed in.
Yeah.
The police formally arrest the man for the production of a Class B drug and take him off to the station for more questioning. Whilst that signals the end of this small cannabis grow, next time I discover that this is just the tip of the iceberg. I'll meet some of the ringleaders responsible for the commercial cannabis boom in Britain.
The only thing that police are doing at the moment is putting more power, more money into the hands of the organised gangs.
Spend time at one of Britain's only cannabis addiction programmes.
We could fill this place. Absolutely fill it.
I'll follow the UK Border Agency in their attempts to stop cannabis being smuggled into Britain. And I'll find out about the serious organised cannabis gangs that are also tied up in hardcore drugs, violence, and even people smuggling.
Were you allowed to leave the house?
No.
That sounds like slave labour.
Up next tonight on BBC HD, it's EastEnders, and later on, getting hypothetical, it's QIXL.